Alright, this is Weapon X Reacts, and we're back with another video, and this is gonna be a review of The Last of Us Season 2. And I just want to let you know that this season right here is based on The Last of Us Part 2, which I think is one of the worst games ever made, and the reason why it was so bad is not just because of the fact that they killed Joel, it's that they did it in a way to piss all over this character, and what makes it even worse is that you have to play as Abby for the rest of the game, and they even tried really hard to make her likable, and it just didn't work. Also, I thought the ending was absolute garbage and it made zero sense. And the reason why I say this is because it made Ellie's revenge mission to kill Abby completely pointless. As when she tries to choke her in the water, she sees a flashback of Joel. And then she stops. And it just pisses me off so much because this scene is a perfect example of lazy writing. And they're basically trying to say revenge is bad. But in here, that idea is so poorly done in this scene. And another problem I had with this game was that the relationship between Ellie and Dina was absolutely awful, and there was no chemistry between them at all. Also, we even had to be reminded of Ellie's sexuality every single time. And if there was anything I actually liked about this game was that the graphics looked really good. And it had some decent voice acting from everyone involved, especially from Ashley Johnson as Ellie, even if her character was completely unlikable. And the flashback scene with Joel and Ellie is easily the best scene in the whole game. But overall, this is a great example of how to destroy a successful franchise. And the fact that it was called The Last Jedi of Gaming tells you everything you need to know about how bad this game is. And 2 years ago, I even made a video about this piece of shit, which you can check out right now. And this video game deserves all the hate it got, as it is a perfect example of how wokeness and identity politics can ruin a game or a movie. And it just gets worse and worse as time goes on. I want to talk about the first season for a bit. I enjoyed it until it went completely downhill with episode 3. And I am actually going to be honest right now. The only good thing about that episode was the acting, that's it. But really, it didn't add anything to the show at all. And it took away our time with Ellie and Joel. And to me, it just felt like bullshit LGBTQ pandering. Also, in my opinion, I don't see Bella Ramsey as Ellie Williams or Pedro Pascal as Joel. And personally, I think he is one of the most overrated actors working in Hollywood today. And it is just wild to me that he is in everything right now, and I even heard that he's gonna be in Ari Aster's new film, Eddington and Fantastic Four First Steps. And while season 1 had its moments, it was just a mess. But really, if I have anything I want to say is that when I saw that this show was going to get a second season, I was worried. And I knew for a fact that it was going to be trash right from the very start. I want to talk about episode 1, and to me, it was just lifelessly boring. And one thing I actually thought was interesting about this episode is that they change some parts of the scenes that you see in the game. But you do see that part of where Ellie and Dina kiss. And after that, we see a man insulting them. And then Joel comes in and shoves him to the ground. And Ellie starts shouting at him. And I just can't take this scene seriously because Bella Ramsey's acting here is laughably bad. And instead of the scene being emotional, it just comes off as cringy, and not just that, but Joel got completely emasculated in this episode. Just like how he was treated in the game. Also, the teen drama subplot with Ellie and Dina is absolute dog shit. And it just doesn't work. And in this episode, we see Abby, but the difference here is that she doesn't look like her game counterpart due to the fact that they couldn't find an actress who looks like that. And it's nice that we have a little bit more backstory here, as it makes Abby's motivations more human and believable, because in the game, it was just all over the place. And if they didn't show her backstory after she killed Joel, it will make us understand why she would do this. But it just became another reason of why the game's story is one of the worst stories in gaming history. And the actress did a really good job here, but still, it doesn't save this show. And overall, this episode was a waste of time. And the biggest problem I had was that the show was just poorly written. And trust me, man, when we get to the next one, it's going to get a whole lot worse. Episode 2 was hot garbage, and it perfectly sums up how the show was gonna go on later in the future, and not in a good way. And there were some good moments here, like how the battle scene in Jackson is absolutely intense, and there were actual stakes involved. And I am just gonna let you know that this scene wasn't even in the fucking game! Which was a nice change, by the way, but when we get to the scene of where Joel dies in this episode, it completely falls apart. But the biggest difference here is how Abby killed him. While in the game, she used a golf club. While here, she just stabs him with a pike. Which I thought was absolutely stupid in my opinion. And overall, this episode was a fucking mess. And the writing is all over the place. And it just doesn't save this season from being a complete disaster. I thought the third episode was nothing more but a waste of not just my time, but my life, as I just don't even care about Ellie and Dina. Because their chemistry is so poorly written. And I actually will admit that this season is so much worse than the game. And while it did have a lot of problems, at least the actors actually tried to give a good performance. While here, no one seems to give a shit about what they're doing. And it's just sad, really, because I thought this first season was actually kind of alright, but massively overrated in my opinion. And in this season, it's like all the problems I had with the first one got way worse as it went on. And not just that, but this show lost half of its audience, which is absolutely terrible when it comes to a show like this. Also, the fourth episode was not that good. And there was one scene of where Ellie says to Dina when she gets pregnant, and then she says, I am going to be a dad. And I am actually going to be serious right now. This is one of the wokest and cringiest scenes I have ever seen in my fucking life. And this was supposed to be a very important scene, but due to the terrible writing and dialogue, it just comes off as stupid, and Bella Ramsey's acting isn't that good either. And you know who would have been a perfect casting choice for Ellie? Kaylee Spaney, who is the actress from films like Civil War or Alien Romulus. Because I would definitely take her over Bella Ramsey, because to me it just looks like she's not even trying. Episode 5 is truly awful, but I will admit that the scene of where Ellie finds Nora was pretty okay, as it is very intense, with some incredible cinematography. But it is ruined by the bad performances from the two actors, as they look so blank on screen, and it just ruins the show for me. And throughout the episode, it just shows me how little Ellie cares about Joel when he died. And in the end, she just becomes another insufferable girl boss. Like how we see every single time in modern entertainment. And one of the biggest issues I had with the show was that Jesse is completely wasted. And personally, I thought he was a pretty good character in the game, even if he meant nothing to the story. Also, I thought the actor's performance here felt bland, and it added nothing to the show. And it's not just him. Every single character is completely underdeveloped, and you aren't given enough time to really care about them. And if I have one thing I want to say about the show that is actually really good, it's nice seeing Jeffrey Wright reprising his role as Isaac. Also, episode 7 was the final nail in the coffin for me, as everything that happens here is all just to pad the runtime, and it's a perfect example of why I think you should not waste your fucking life on this show, because the people that made it don't care about you or your time. And this show had so much potential in the first season, only to fuck itself up with this one. And overall, this episode felt so rushed. And it is a perfect encapsulation of how bad the show is. And Ellie is just an unlikable character that you don't care about, because guess what? I think the writers took a character from the game and made her even more insufferable. And not just that, but a Mary Sue as well. Also, I just want to let you know that Season 3 is going to focus more on Abby. And you know for a fucking fact that I won't be wasting my time with that season, because guess what? I am fucking done with this show! Also, the soundtrack was just something else, and it is easily one of the only things I actually liked about the game and this season. And I'm gonna show you an example of it right now. You know what I like about the score of this game? Is that it's just haunting. And it really fits well with the game's depressing story, and you can thank Gustavo Santaolalla for that. Dude. And to me, I just thought this season was just boring. Like, really, the characters are poorly written. Everything that you liked about Last of Us Part 1 completely shadow over itself. Neil Druckmann is a joke, man. Alright, there you go. And in conclusion, this show was just terrible, and it is easily up there as being one of the worst seasons in any TV show. And it is all because of the terrible acting and writing. And I am actually gonna be serious right now. It makes The Last of Us Part 2 look like a fucking masterpiece by comparison. And yeah, this show was an absolute waste of time. Nah, not just that. A waste of my life. As everything that happens doesn't enhance the story. It just decreases it. And you know what? This show is a perfect example of how modern entertainment got destroyed by woke nonsense. And guess what? They will not improve on their content. And if they see you call out this garbage, guess what? They will call you a bigot, or a racist, or a sexist, or a transphobe, or a homophobe. All meaningless buzzwords that have got no reason anymore. And that's all it is. These people don't care about telling good stories, but only care about pushing their garbage into it. And just let them. Because guess what? We don't give a fuck anymore! And this show is everything wrong with modern TV shows as a whole. And one more thing. Neil Druckmann should stay the fuck away from video games and TV shows. Because really, he is just like the rest of those pretentious, woke activists who think they know better, but really, they don't. And that's just how it is. And guess what? This show is done. It's becoming one of the worst shows on HBO right now, and no one is going to waste their time with this season. Because the audience went from high and it dropped down low. All because of how bad the season was. And I just want to let you know that I will be reviewing Stay, starring Ryan Gosling and Ewan McGregor, which is a good movie, by the way, and I totally recommend you check it out. And I'm also going to be reviewing the new John Wick movie that's coming out very soon. Also, anyway, that's all I got for today. Go away now, and always remember, strike back like a weapon against wokeness. And can you believe that HBO used to make shows like True Detective and Game of Thrones, and now they're making crap like this? It's just sad, man. Don't support them anymore. Boycott them. Take a stand for our culture.